Hello YouTube, this is Coleslaw. I'm going to make a tutorial today on how to get your 808s to cut through phones. Most people listen to beats/music on their phones nowadays. Phones are really low quality, so you really have to kind of distort your 808s to really get the harmonics to really push through on phone speakers. This is something that I struggled a lot with, so I'm going to try and make this video as short as possible and get my point across, so that way you guys can get to it. Feel free to smash that subscribe button, hit the like, comment down below some feedback. I plan to make more tutorials in the future, so let's get into it. Alright, so I already have this little MIDI loop. It's pretty basic and simple. I'm just going to play it and then I'll break it down. So yeah, pretty simple. The only thing I did with these hi-hats, just added some saturation and reverb on the snare. So I'm going to turn these off, and I'm just going to solo this 808. Alright, so I have an audio effect rack. I'm going to turn it off. So this is what it sounds like off. You might be able to hear it, but probably not. It'll probably be very subtle if you do. So when I turned this on, the first thing that I did was, so Siri Beats actually has a 808 pack, and I bought this for like $30. They're automatically tuned, and they extend for like 15 seconds. But I put it on one shot, and I turned the fade out to kind of like fade it and kind of shape it so it doesn't extend as long, but it is kind of helpful to have one that does extend that long. So I did that. One thing that you can do is right here where it says clean, you can put it on MS2 and just kind of turn the drive up just a little bit. It helps kind of distort it, make it sound more aggressive. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. So on this EQ right here, I cut out the low frequencies. You do this for your 808s and your kicks because your ear can't register anything under about 20 hertz or so. It'll also kind of make your mixes a little muddy whenever you listen to it on sub speakers. So you can see that this peak right here is around 37 hertz or so. So I just kind of exaggerated it and pushed that up around that area. The next thing I did was I added a glue compressor, turned this side chain on, the soft clipper on, and then this makeup knob right here, I just kind of pushed it up a little bit. So if I turn this off, and then I used a multi-band saturator. So around that 37 hertz or so, a little bit up, I kind of took this low frequency and turned this band off. So that way my 808 can still have that sub thump. On this mid and treble area, I just added some saturation drive and then kind of messed around with these knobs right here. Feel free to experiment. Everything is, personal taste, so just kind of find your own style and sound that you like. Next, I used the stock saturator, just a touch. I could probably turn this dry wet knob, mess with that a little bit. These options right here, soft sign. So I use soft because I've already kind of got a lot of distortion effects and stuff like that on it. But if you just messed around with medium or hard, you can get a lot of heavy sounds, kind of like some Ronnie J type stuff. Very aggressive, but not really what I'm wanting to go for right now. So I also use some mids overdrive. So mids overdrive, I also use some mids distortion, sometimes enhance. I'll also use like some isotope trash too if I'm really wanting to get something experimental. But those are, you know, just distortion, just a touch. You don't want to like do it too much. I'll also mess around with these frequencies and push it towards like that low end of the sine wave, you know, the wave tables and everything like that. And then I will sometimes add a gate to the 808, click this side chain, and then select the kick drum. So every time that kick drum is played, the 808 will duck down and then rise after the kick has started. So if I turn this gate off, when I turn it on, just the little things. I also add a utility and convert it to mono, and then I will turn this gain down some, because even though whenever I'm mixing, I like to have my 808s around like -20 and my kicks about like to -18, but I'm not really focused on that. But I also want to address how important gain staging is. So gain staging, even though you bring your levels down, you also don't want them to clip past the level. You want to give it some room to kind of like breathe and just not really clip too much. So you can kind of see that it's slightly under my levels right here. So all together, turn this effect rack off and on. So for my kick, I just want to say, whenever you pull up this EQ, so on my 808 on the EQ, it hits at 37 hertz, right? On my kick drum, sound selection is very important. You do not want your kick drum and your 808s to hit the same frequency. So if it hits at 37 hertz, they're going to clash, and you're not really going to be able to identify what's the 808 and what's the kick. So that's why it's important to have it hit at different frequencies. That way you can hear both of them. This one hits at 65. Pretty much, I just copied this from the 808, but normally I wouldn't really do all of this extra stuff. But I will kind of like turn up the makeup right here. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you today. So please hit that subscribe button and comment some feedback. I'll see y'all in the next video.